Welcome to With the First Pick. We're going team by team to build a perfect 7-round mock draft. Who is on the clock today? We're breaking down the Kansas City Chiefs, their biggest needs, best fits, and sleeper picks that could make their draft. And by the time we're done, you'll have a perfect blueprint for how they can dominate draft weekend. Let's go on the clock with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's Mike Renner. I'm Ryan Wilson. And I keep hearing, Mike, that the Chiefs aren't going to target an offensive lineman in the first round. That feels crazy to me, especially if our guy Josh Simmons is there. But you can direct us in the direction we want to go here.
Josh Simmons is there. Now, I like Josh Connerly. Truthfully, he's higher on my board than this. But I love Colston Loveland. He's highest on my board here. And it just feels like fate, right? That Travis Kelce's last year, you get a prospect like Loveland to be sitting there on the board for you. It's going to be the same. If Loveland's there, it's going to be the same thing as last year when Xavier Worthy was there. And everyone's like, how could you let him get, the next Tyreek Hill? Or I don't think Worthy's next Tyreek Hill, but like that caliber of speed. I think Loveland is that caliber of tight end that you just, maybe a shoe need here. Maybe you do need more other positions more. But the fact that you could be set at tight end for the next decade with a guy similar to Kelce, that's where I'd go.
Yeah, and the other way to think about it is Travis Kelce's probably playing one more year. You can only, if you want to play him like literally 10 snaps a game until January, you can do that now. And the other thing is you're going to get way more out of Colston Loveland, it feels like, than you'll get out of Josh Connerly Jr. in year one if you stick him out there at left or right tackle. Yep, yeah. I'm done. I'm down with that.
And he gets to learn from Kelce. He gets to pick his brain year one and get all the same whatever mind meld that he had with Mahomes. He can pick up on that.
Yep, 100%. All right, next up, pick 63. What do we got here? What sticks out to you? I mean, they have so many wide receivers. If they're healthy, they're fine. So I don't think we need to go in that direction.
I think a lot of people just wanted to give them wide receiver, but I think it's just because, Rashee Rice was hurt last year, and not say they didn't realize that, but you almost forget about it. And then Hollywood Brown barely played last year, but you forget that like when he is fully healthy, he's still a quality. Now you could use a more possession type of wide receiver, a bigger bodied guy. But I don't think it's necessarily top or back end of the second round here makes that necessary. You can find that guy maybe a little later on, someone like that Trey Harris, if he's still on the board there in the third, maybe you go get it then. But I'm looking at defensive line here.
Yep.
I think that's where they're just kind of thin in terms of impact guys, especially defensive tackle outside of Chris Jones right now. They're in the same thing we were saying with the Bills, that they just kind of need a plugger. So they got a few pluggers there on that board. Caldwell, Collins, Jordan Phillips, CJ West, all can definitely be that guy.
I love CJ West. I think we haven't spent a lot of time talking about him. You and I talked about him at the Shrine Bowl, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. He flashed there, and he flashed in the fall for Indiana. I don't think 63 is too early for him, but there's a lot of guys we've talked to death. This defensive line class is ridiculously deep. I'll let you have the final say. Jamari Caldwell's a guy that our buddy Pete Prisco loves, and he doesn't look like Jordan Birch or the other one whose name I always forget. What's the interior defensive line?
Harmon.
Harmon, yeah. He doesn't look like those guys getting off the bus, but he might be down to down more productive in terms of the way I think about him. People can disagree. But anyway, I'll let you turn in the card here. But
who's highest on your board of those DTs? Who's highest? I'm just curious.
Yeah, let me look real quick.
Because I know my answer. And if we align,
no one's asked me that, Striker. Let's see
we put it in.
I have highest on my board, defensive line. So Derek Harmon's gone. I do have him up there. I don't love him, but Omar Norman Law, but he's a different player. Deion Walker actually have pretty high because I think he was injured last year. I think he's going to be special. But
should we go Deion Walker here? I like Deion Walker.
Oh, you do? Okay, let's see if Deion's there. There he is.
He is. I would do it.
Yeah.
How is he at 173? Trev.
So imagine him healthy next to Chris Jones.
Yes. Look at his sophomore tape. I like Deion Walker. Now, again, he's not necessarily your nose tackle need, but it's a guy that I want on that defensive
at 6'7", 330.
Yes.
He can be whatever you want him to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Just play lower, Deion. And I think he had a back injury. So get healthy, play lower, done and done. All right, that was easy.
Chris Jones he's the tallest DT in the NFL right now that's like playing at elite level, right? He's over 6'6". It is tough to do, but that's the guy you want to learn from if you're Deion Walker.
They're going to have 13 feet of defensive linemen. That's all I'm saying. All right, next up. So we got Colston, Loveland, and Deion Walker, two guys that I probably have rarely, if ever, been mocked to the Kansas City Chiefs, but I love it so far. What direction are you thinking now? You want to edge maybe? Offensive
They
line?
can
Where
keep
we wanna
going.
go?
Yeah, I'd be willing to keep going defensive line here.
Okay.
I don't think there is a need though on this roster after that. Like I think your needs have been taken care of here. Your defensive tackle is probably your one like quote unquote need. You have guys at every other position. Maybe cornerback's the only one, like slot cornerback's the only one where I'm like, yeah, I could probably use a guy, but it's not a great class for slot cornerback. So I'd even be interested in just doubling up on DT if that's where the value is. I don't know, where's your board say in terms of defensive linemen right now? Because I think I have, so CJ West was the guy I was saying is the highest on my board from the last pick, but
let's see. Yep, CJ West is next for me. Omar Norman Lott's up there, but we've talked about him. He's a different category because he's a little undersized. CJ West is juiced up for the size he's at. I love him here. I would take him. I had him top of the third round.
DT really revamp that defensive line.
Yeah, I had him top of the third round, and he went top of the third. Perfect.
Complete opposite end of the spectrum, DTs, in terms of nose tackles. Got the tallest, longest, the shortest, squattest, but
just rotate those guys through. Absolutely. All right, pick 95. We're at the bottom of the third round now. So I'm just looking at their offensive line. They have Jalen Moore. They signed to play left tackle. Looks like Kingsley Sumatea has a chance to move inside and win the job there. They brought back Trey Smith. We know about Creed Humphrey, and then Jawan Taylor's on the right side. I just mentioned that because I saw Tate Ratledge sitting there, but we can go in any direction. Cameron Williams, the right tackle out of Texas, is also available, who's a good athlete but pretty raw.
Yeah, at this point, I'd go Ratledge. Just
wait a second. Hold on 1 second. You're first-round talent. My alma mater, Charles Grant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pass on Charles Grant. Let's be real. But for the Chiefs right now, he's another project tackle. How much leeway do they need to give these project tackles? Now I think he's a much better project than Wanya was. I think he's a much better project than Kingsley was coming out. But 3 straight years of project tackles, at some point you just got to throw your hands up. Yeah.
Are you okay? So are you on the Tate Ratledge bandwagon here?
Yeah, I'm fine with going Ratledge. It just feels like a guy who can give your roster a bigger bump year one than Charles Grant could.
And we don't know what Kingsley Sumatea is going to look like at guard. He played right and left tackle at BYU. I don't know if he ever played inside in college, but we have an idea of what Tate will look like, and he's a grown man there. All right, pick 143. We're now at the end of the fourth round, and the world is your oyster because, as you noted, there are very few things to sort of concern ourselves with. I mean,
I'm interested in Billy Bowman in the slot at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's one of those guys that, he doesn't fit the prototypical safety or corner size, but as a slot with, at his height, with the way he plays, I think he could be a problem.
Yep. The Oklahoma safety who tested better than I thought he would. He ran in the 4.4s or 4.3. He did something insane. A little undersized, but he'll smack you in the mouth. Billy Bowman Jr. I like that there. Turning the card, striker. All right, 3 more picks to go. We're now in round 7. 226 is where we start. And as you noted, Mike, there's not a lot left to sort through. We'll just see what best available looks like and guys that we like.
I would throw a dart at a running back upcoming here, just because such a strong class. We've kind of avoided it to this point in time because Pacheco's still there. Pacheco's still a good back. But after that,
oh boy,
might as well try to find one. Oh man, the class got kind of cooked. I guess
I love Corey Kiner and I love Woody Marks out of Cincinnati and USC respectively. Phil Moff was a bigger back. We know about Donovan Edwards at Michigan. Ulysses Bentley out of Ole Miss as well. They're not quite as juiced up.
You'll scroll down a little bit, see if there's any guys that is that it in the running?
That's
it. Oh no, we're in round 7. That's why I screwed up there. You picked that one. I'm good.
I would take Kiner out of Cincinnati. He's fun. Let me get his measurables. He's undersized, 5'8.5", 208. Ran a 4.57, so he's not super juiced up. But he reminded me a little bit of the D'Angelo Williams was my comp for him in terms of the way he played. One of my favorite players to watch in the fall is a note that I made in the fall. Thick build, but looks smaller than 5'9". Best contact balance in the class after Genty. Ooh.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, I love that pick in round 7. All right, next up, our second 7th round pick.
You know who I love here?
I was going to say, we pick Ty Robinson probably every third draft we do. I don't look, man. You can never have enough guys to rotate through the defensive line, whether it's edge or interior defensive line. I have no issue with taking him there because he's going to do all the stuff that no one else does, and he's going to do it 30 snaps a game, and everyone else will be fresh. I mean, Chris Jones comes off the field, and that defense falls apart. I feel like with the guys we've drafted here in C.J. West and Ty Robinson, that helps alleviate that on some level.
I like Elijah Badger here too.
Okay.
Great hands. Can actually be a nice 4th wide receiver there.
Yeah, and I would imagine since we have 2 more picks, we could grab both these guys. So we can grab Badger first, the Florida wide receiver, and see if our guy Ty is still there. If not, it's going to be a Milton Williams, Howie Roseman situation.
Oh, it's not.
There it is. Got to throw a fit. I wonder why Zay Frazier continues to
Zay Frazier then?
Yeah, this is if he's here, something's gone horribly wrong. UTSA corner, he is long. He ran really well. I like him a lot. Yeah, let's take Zay Frazier, long cornerback, sort of a Josh Williams type player. Not quite as physical as Josh, but in terms of that long frame. All right, Colston. I mean, again, I say it after every mock draft. I can't imagine why fans wouldn't love this, but Colston Loveland, you think that's the gift that keeps on giving for Patrick Mahomes and allows Travis Kelce to take things easy as he makes his way into January. Deion Walker, I think he has a chance to be really good once he gets healthy. CJ West, another interior defensive lineman with back-to-back picks, different body types, different jobs. Tate Ratledge bolsters the interior offensive line out of Georgia. Billy Bowman Jr., the safety / slot out of Oklahoma. Corey Kiner, Elijah Badger, and Zay Frazier, are the 3 7th-round picks, running back, wide receiver, and cornerback. And that wraps up the perfect Chiefs draft class. So make sure to subscribe to NFL on CBS on YouTube and download with the first pick wherever you get your podcasts, and stay tuned for more perfect mock drafts because we are hitting all 32 teams.